So what I really like to do as we talk about our logos is I want you just to reiterate the company, the brand, what the mission and vision is, because and then I also want you to talk about your logos as, again, everything has a spark of an idea. So I want you to talk about what sparked you, right?
Okay.
And where you're headed and how you got there. How's that?
Okay. So, my company is Kind Humanity, and it's kind of similar to Serengeti, where you take different prints from around the world, and each season there's a new campaign on it, right? And then when someone orders clothes, you get a description of the print itself and the history of it, the culture of it. So my whole vision and mission is to bring people together from different world communities and have us have a better understanding of each other's cultures through clothing and through pattern and textiles, rather. So each of these logos, I did kind of a main logo and then sub logos just to see how I liked it. I'm not going to go really through each one, but the main kind of theme for each one was to incorporate the idea of like clothing and stitching it together and being together. Yeah. So those are those sketches. So these ones.
So clothing and stitching it together, does the metaphor stitching humanity together show up at all?
What do you mean?
Just that, even a tagline.
Yeah, so here, actually, I didn't write it on these ones. This is the, so it kind of goes in order of least favorite, I guess, to most. So here's this one. I did the tree just because kind of the tree of life, the trunk representing kind of bringing everyone together, and roots kind of representing all of us having the same kind of roots in the scheme of things. And then the circle kind of representing the earth. So there's that. And then this one, here we have the sewing needle with the tagline, I think is what you were asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was that one. And then the final one, which is my personal favorite, but I was asking my boyfriend about it, and he says it's illegible. So I need to figure out a way to kind of incorporate this whole idea and feel with still making it, more legible. So that's where I'm at right now.
So who has thoughts? I know you all have really great ideas and impressions.
I like this one. Maybe if you just play with the different fonts a little bit. Maybe that's because I love the needle and the way the two.
Oh, it's also supposed to be like an infinity sign in a way.
Oh, I see. Because I like that part, but maybe it's the other font of the words themselves that are too.
Yeah, he was saying that this, you can't really tell that this is HU.
Oh,
I think that was his biggest thing, and this, he was like, it just looks like it says KL. But also, he's a 30-year-old male who has no design, whatever. So.
Well, at least he gives you a comment.
Yeah, he's very good about that. He's very good about that.
It's not.
So did you hear Katie's question?
I'm sorry.
I'm just questioning, under her professional opinion, how legible does it have to be because it's a logo? So it might just stand out kind of as a design look, right?
Well, that's I don't have a problem with it, but that's the reason why I wanted everyone's feedback to see, is that something? Because again, it also is supposed to be a target audience, right? Like my 30-year-old boyfriend is not my target audience, and so I don't know if the people that are going to be looking at this are like, oh yes, handwritten letters. I know exactly what that says because I see that all the time on the internet, or something like that.
Anything too, you could probably just keep that same typeface, but like take the little part of the H and bump it up a little bit, just actually hand do it.
You would be surprised at how difficult that was because I did try that last night.
Did you try it?
I did, yeah. But
it just takes practice because I've done it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And so it's really good practice actually if you try it because you'll need it a lot, I think, right?
Good to know.
I think it's legible.
Thank you.
I thought that part of like the second part of the video was for an S for some reason. Obviously, like my mind knows what it's supposed to say, but that wasn't how I read I think I really do love like your smaller logos with just the K and the H going through the needle. I think that for me, like sometimes the cursive K's get kind of confused with R's sometimes. So I feel like if you wanted to, you could just do a regular K because the swivel of it on this part of it is still going to be able to tie into kind of like a thread. But I feel like I didn't like automatically get the infinity symbol type thing, but I automatically obviously got that it was a thread going through the needle. So maybe just to make it less like swirly and swishy and kind of things like that, so you can really quickly see that it's a K and an H and a thread through a thing. You don't necessarily have to make it so infinity.
Got it.
I think
Okay.
you could just make it without it, and it would still read really well.
Appreciate that feedback.
More thoughts?
About the logo.
Yeah.
What if you like take out the needle from the middle and the Y like goes on from
So that's actually kind of what I had in one of my, like, are you talking about more like this sort of thing?
yeah, but like the needle gets super big. It's like under kind of
Oh, it underlines it.
Oh,
and
underlines it.
Goes back in a different direction.
Okay.
That's a good suggestion.
It's really nice, though. I like it.
Thank you.
Very unique.
More thoughts?
I do like the idea of the words being a thread. So yeah, I would definitely keep the idea of like the letters being a part of that thread. So yeah, I would say just place maybe other concepts if you are worried about those.
Can you hit the minus sign?
Yeah.
Small.
That's as good as.
One of the things I want all of you to do is look at your logos, super small, like the size of a postage stamp, and then think about what the little favicon is on the website, or what's it going to look like. What's your website with the logo going to look like on your iPhone screen or your mobile phone screen? I think all of you have great suggestions, all of you. And I agree, I like this best. I like all the metaphors of a continuous thread. I like the fact that you have a metaphor of infinity, whether I see it or not. I feel like the D is an awkward linking on
Yeah.
kind.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel kind of the same thing with your H in humanity. I know you wanted it to nest in that shape, but it's a little awkward there, so you might need to refine it.
Absolutely.
I would also look at different scripty fonts like
But I like Dante's.
yeah.
It's like simple or satisfying.
I'd look at more fonts available to see if you could swap out your H for the word humanity. Kind is super legible to me. It's such a simple word, I don't think anybody's going to miss it. But humanity could be, when I look at it down at the bottom, it could be fraternity, it could be,
Mm-hmm.
it could be, I just see loopy, itty words.
Yeah.
Like, so I would convert it to outline, and I would spend hours working on my little H,
Okay.
even if it's hard, to be honest. I would also take the K and duplicate it for the H, and then just manipulate the loop part of it. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll sometimes take a font if I don't think it's readable, like the H in humanity could be an L. You said it would look like an L to them.
That was my boyfriend.
And he's right.
Yeah.
I can see both ways. So what I do is maybe take that loop, and then I find another, like I might take the loop of the Y and flip the Y upside down like this.
Mhm. Okay.
Reflect it, and take that loop of the Y, which is a really big loop, and see if that doesn't fill in the H.
That might just be a good H.
Right.
Just all
Or
that.
it might just be a good H. So that's what I mean. There's so many ways that you can manipulate type
Mhm.
and keep the same feel,
Right.
and that might actually, it might just be a good age, might get you there because it's
Okay.
got a similar loop to the K.
Right.
So I would, the awkward places we talked about, I'd work with. I think sewn together is too close.
Okay.
Underneath there, I would give it more breathing space, probably have a base aligned with a descender in the Y. And I would probably fill in a space if it goes down to the descender in the Y. Then I would probably open up the tracking of the word so it can fill in that space maybe a little better. And I actually wouldn't use that typography, not typography, that typewriter font. I would use something super, super clean, like beautiful font is called Montserrat. It's beautiful. Another font. I just pick something very, very clean and contrasting. I don't want serifs to compete with my script. I'm not sure that's working.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay? You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. You can get behind me. I'm super comfortable. I have to move up here just so I can get my voice picked up on video. I never know if it works. Does it work if I sit over here? Pick up my voice?
Yeah, it does. Just speak up.
Yeah, I feel like I'm shouting. Okay. You love digital. Hate thumbnails, right?
Yeah. I don't hate it, but I like when I sketch it, I'm just trying to do it so fast and get my idea that it's not looking how I want it to or how I envision it. And then when I come back to it, I'm like, I'm not positive how I meant that. So for me, I can do it exactly how I meant it and keep it really nice and neat. And I can still play with the fonts instead of having to draw them. So my 3 were these.
Wait. Let's talk about
Sorry.
your company. Your
Oh,
mission
sorry.
statement.
Yes, so
Your
I'm
vision.
doing a party supply company, and our mission is to kind of be unique and different than just the regular type of themes you can buy at any Party City or even just like Target, or because Urban Outfitters kind of has some very unique things, but they're kind of like more of my competition. It's meant for women, and they kind of have things that are very unique to party elements sometimes, and to be very trendy in the moment. Like I want to do themes that are applicable all the time, but I also want to do things that are very different and aren't done anywhere else type of thing. It started because I threw myself a party and I just included all of my favorite things. So, for instance, we did a Pin the Tears on the Drake, and we played Drake music while we did it, and it was hilarious. Like, it's just very fun, unique things that are just not very common type of stuff.
And do you have a succinct mission statement?
Yeah, I did have a
What do you know what it is? Not off the top of your head.
It was basically to supply party items that you can't find anywhere else, and then part of our giving back was to donate party supplies for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so that way they can celebrate their birthdays with really cool fun stuff in the hospital.
Sweet. So, talk about your seeds of ideas behind these.
So all of them have something to do with heart, which I did really like. I really liked the idea of more of like kind of a geometric heart. That's why that's kind of in there a lot more than just the regular circle kind of heart. And I really gravitated towards the 3D one, just because when I look at it, sometimes I can see it from above or below, like your eyes kind of switch it sometimes. And I thought that was really fun. So I'm trying to keep, my goal for this is to keep it very modern and simple, but still fun. Like I want to keep something that's timeless. When I was looking at a lot of other logos, to me they were just too over the top and kind of tacky sometimes, and I think maybe they thought it was a good idea at the moment, and then I just didn't like them. So I wanted to keep mine still simple but fun, I guess. Did that answer all the questions? Okay. So then these were my final 3. The bottom one ended up being my favorite, but the cool part that I liked about it was that each of these hearts could be like if I liked the top one, the version of that one, but I wanted to replace that solid heart with maybe the 3D heart, I could. I still kind of, but these were the three fonts / layouts that I liked, because I like the idea of an icon and a typeface together, because I feel like that just really reiterates a brand to me. I always feel like I can specify a brand with its typeface and its icon for the most part. So then the one that I liked the most was the bottom one. I made a solid version just because I know sometimes there may be instances where the outline version won't always be super legible. So I also, or readable. I kept that in mind, but I did like the solid, or the 3D heart the most, because I thought it was just kind of the most different and unique. I haven't seen that before.
Did you make that?
Yes.
I'm just wondering how it would look if the heart was like, if you like turned it a little bit to one side so that it was showing on all sides, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or I just think that might look nice too.
I'm definitely open to playing with like how the 3D look.
Right.
I think it might be cool to try also, I don't know if you did this already, but that part with they kind of like tell you the all lowercase letters and then use two different fonts.
Yeah,
The script one. Which
Like-
one do you want to go back to that?
like this one.
Yeah.
So with this heart, but next to
Yeah.
this.
I think one thing that you had with your font that is white in the middle, I think that sometimes is a little bit difficult to read. So keeping it all filled in, I think is kind of helpful. And then, did you play with the leading at all?
The leading or the kerning?
Kerning.
No, I didn't.
Because I feel like when you see like that parts, like the HE, the spacing seems a little off. And then you could even possibly take the two top letters and make them a little bigger as compared to the rest, since it's all caps, just to kind of give it effect of two words, even though they're all together. Just fun things to try. Not sold on anything.
Yeah.
What about? Yeah, cool. Well, I like the second choice of the two fonts. I was thinking if I were thinking about when I was looking at a different sans serif font, I was mostly just thinking
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's not my favorite font, but also it would be interesting for all of the ones. Oh, I guess not the top one, but the bottom two to see how it would look like if it had less size, I guess, to the heart, like more just very simple instead of having there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 on each curve. So like the second one, so usually have like less size.
Can you go up to your first page?
Yep.
So, the logo that you have with all the hearts above the heart there.
Which one?
The logo with a heart? Is
Well,
that what you
no.
said?
The solid, it's the font it's the bottom,
It's like this one?
this one right here, this font.
Uh-huh.
So your company's all about fun and creative and
Yeah.
crafty and artsy fartsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hip.
Yeah.
So that font says that to me there. So go down to the, so maybe combine, I think people are commenting on that middle one because of just that font and flow and freedom and fun maybe behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But you like that heart, which is fine, but maybe incorporate that too, because that heart is very, it's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very, it has a lot of structure to it, to me, in my mind, like order. And with your business, it's, you don't want so much order, you want people to be creative and expand. So maybe the font can that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
More thoughts? I really like the 3D art. I get like the fun aspect of your company from it, and then the dotted lines to me like imply some sort of like paper aspect. So art. I think the third one's really cool too, the art, and I wonder if you could apply a similar like three-dimensional treatment to the letters.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was trying to think of like how it would work on a bunch of different things. So I really didn't want to make it too complicated. I just haven't decided on my color palette yet. But yeah.
One more thing. So yeah, the 3D art.
Mhm.
I don't know if you tried this already, but I did really like the idea of the letters going around the top. So
Yeah.
maybe that would be 3D.
Yeah.
I like the idea of creating two people that apply to what
Yeah.
I would make the outlines and the lights super large. So this version, one is really small. Definitely I'm thinking about it. Because I like that too, the version. The new one.
Mhm.
And then it's super small. And you have to
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
some more color. So it shows.
So make your page really small if that's possible.
As far as it goes.
So what you notice is your dotted lines go with it, right?
Yeah, I was just realizing I probably have to put less dotted lines.
Anybody else? So I have a lot of thoughts. Because of course you guys have great ideas, great feedback. So I think of your company as being personal.
Mhm.
And I think of your company as being creative. And kind of like I want to throw up my arms in joy and celebration and exclamation, like, oh, right? That's what I want the experience to be like when you create your event, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your font selection to me is so structured, I feel like you should be an architectural firm and keep in the box. And then your heart, because it's architecturally rendered, does only echoes that to me.
Okay.
So if you like the 3D heart, I would love to see you hand sketch it.
Okay.
Where it becomes something that comes out of your hand, and use a pen that goes thick thin. Don't do it digitally.
Okay.
And then scan it, and then maybe live trace it if you're, don't know how to get there. For all the typefaces that you've selected, none of them speak to me of being something created by hand at all.
Well, I don't know. I just like that part of it isn't super. I don't know. I wouldn't say like important. I don't know. I feel like it was really hard to find a typeface that did both. That was fun, but also was going to stay relevant for a while.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think one component,
Mhm.
one or the other component of, like if you used the formal sans serif, all uppercase typeface, I don't know what it is. It could be Futura or Helvetica or what else would I think? But is it, or Avantgarde, that's what I was thinking. and you popped out the O and you popped in your hand-drawn heart. You already did that in one of your examples, or like you did up above. That adds the hand-drawn element or the human element to it. And then somebody said, try taking it and turning it at different angles.
Okay.
And maybe that becomes different ways that you look at parts. Or Taylor's idea of origami is mostly like, oh, you can fold things and turn things into something else. And there's a handmade element to that. So you might want to look at that idea of it kind of shape-shifting, or maybe that becomes, if you think down the road, not just for your logo, but like of little icons for different events, where you look at different icons that are available or that you might choose to use, where they have that feeling of, I don't know how else to describe it, but shape-shifting, where they take different forms and they morph. I want to see more movement in here, more celebration. I feel like it's too static for the intention of your company. And then when you do settle on your type, then I know you'll go in and, Katie was talking about kerning. I know you'll go in and you'll refine your type, because right now you're just thinking it out loud, basically. And I would try more. The other thing is I looked at your 3D heart, and I wanted to have it on a piece of paper almost, and have something cutting it out where it had a cast shadow below it, like it became, like you started with this rectangle, but you cut that shape out and there was a shadow below it, which showed that it was three-dimensional.
I think I get it.
Yeah. And I just want to see more variety of, I think you got a little stuck on your angular heart. And I'd love for you to just try it a million different ways. And I think if you kind of get some inspiration and look at different hearts and different ways of handling it, I think it might trigger more stuff for you.
Yeah.
So I probably work it more, is probably what I do. As you develop your color and your type and so forth, I think you'll explore it and it'll all start to come together.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so the name I chose for my company is Zenful Packs, and it's like a care package gift basket company essentially, and I decided to focus in on kind of like the theme of the care package, which is stress relief, like relaxation kind of company, and the mission statement I have is to provide a convenient gift arrangement for the ones you love at any time that brings peace to the mind and generates a zen-like atmosphere. So these are my logo refs. And I wanted to incorporate kind of like the gift aspect or basket or something like that, or the bow. I kind of ended up running with the bow itself. And then I wanted a kind of like gentle, soft, flowy, like typeface.
What's that little, where your arrow is?
Right here.
What is that, a flower?
Kind of like a lotus flower.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then these are the few that I chose to do digitally. This one was kind of my favorite. And then I also liked this one, because the Z, I saw like a gift box there. And then I also really liked just the Z and the P, the negative space to create a gift. So I kind of wanted to use like both of these in a way, but this by itself is cool as a logo, I feel like, but I don't know, the identity, I don't know.
So,
I think I really like the first one. Top, like you said, like your favorite one. I like how you link the two or like letters together. Because it does automatically make me think about like but I really like the one right next to it. Like maybe question brand identity.
Yeah.
I like the first one too. And I do understand how you could kind of utilize both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are going to use both of them, I think you might want to make the Z in both of them a little closer to the same Z.
Yeah.
Are they the
They're
same? Right
they're
now?
not the same
Yeah.
now.
Oh, you know that already.
Yeah.
But I do like that idea.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I like the second one down. I think it's like symmetrical to me. It has these
I like the second one too, but I like that present or the package on the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe instead of the heart in the middle, put the package in the middle and do something cute with that.
Yeah.
Or play off of it. But I don't know if it's the fonts or how clean and easy it is to read, but I do like that one.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I just chose those couple ones to go further with color.
how do you say PAX?
Packs.
Do you? Does everybody speak French? How do you say it? Ouais. Is that how you say it in French?
Or like I think of like Paxton, like as a name or something.
Yeah.
But I chose Pax because and afterwards it kind of became like a pun, but when I looked it up the name meant like goddess of peace.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So just different scales. And then I was playing with just some different color. So yeah.
Yeah. So I have thoughts, of course. Well, I think this is very graceful, very readable. I want to make your ENFUL closer to the Z.
Yeah.
But I like how the L nests in the bow. So that means you'll just move the Z closer to the E.
Yes.
But I also want that Z, it's very strange, I don't know why, because I'm sure you got the font this way, right? But I really want, like this is such a graceful flourish here, I think, that I want this to be more of a graceful flourish here.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
Kind of 7.
Yeah, it looks a little like a 7. It seems like if you pull that out, you're ready to give it more of a Z.
Yeah, I feel like I want
Like
it to
anchor it
go
more with
just,
it.
I want it to kind of just do that
Yeah.
and then come back to that.
Yeah.
So I play with it.
Yeah.
And then I take the segment and just shift it over a little.
Okay.
And then, and I probably shift your P a little hair closer to your A. That is also close to the bow too. Yeah. So I'll probably do that. And then if you go to your box part,
This one?
no.
Oh, the
So I kept seeing zip in here.
That's what I did too.
And that was the first thing I saw. Like my eye went to that. And I thought, zip. I thought, oh, that's kind of clever, but that's not what you're
Yeah.
pitching. That's not your. That's not your thing. I didn't see the box until you said it, and I was like, oh, yeah. So what I would probably do is I'd probably grab your Z and grab your P when you finish refining them, and then put them here with your present. It's mostly because this kind of dots the I, right?
Yeah.
But I put them here like that, and then I'd see what they do. And keep your idea, because I really like the idea. I think it's clever. It's really nice. But see what happens when you get your Z and P the way they are going to be final, and then see how to work with that idea. I don't know if it's going to work.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to work.
Do you mean
What I was thinking that, well, I definitely think that your Z and P have to be the same Z and P that you have on your other logo. They can't be different, and these are two different, so they don't work for me.
right?
So
I didn't. Yeah, when I was making this, I wasn't making it to be the same.
I know it's independent.
You know, yeah.
but if you want to work
if I
them
wanted-
together,
yeah,
and you want to use that idea, maybe there is a way to do it. I
Yeah.
don't know what that. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
okay.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I did. This one, because of the other one, it ties them together at the bottom. So if you wanted to, could try to do something where instead of creating an actual gift, you could try to do something where either at the top. I would probably maybe say at the top, you would connect the tops of them to the bow and have it at the top
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
instead of just having the top.
Like you don't need the vertical middle line that forms the eye. Just get rid of that.
Okay, yeah.
So
Do you
don't
think-
worry about the bow
do you
being
think-
crossed on a present like that. Just have the bow.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you think keeping like this part?
well,
Is
then
okay?
you might not need them crossed. You might have
Yeah.
a Z here, a P here, and
Right.
a bow up there, and you're done.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's all you need.
Yeah.
Maybe that forms it or something. But you won't know that till you have your Z and your P finished.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I
I wonder if you could keep the horizontal line and put the bow on that.
That would be cool too.
Yeah, so just try it, just play with it, because I think the idea is really sweet. It's really sweet. And then it gives you a ton of latitude for stickers, like you don't need
Yeah.
a whole name, or
Yeah.
I mean, it just gives you so much latitude for what to do.
Okay.
Different ways to handle it in social media, different,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have it big and small.
Okay. Cool.
Great. Are we going to run out of time? I don't want to run out of time. How many people do we have? Put your hands up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't want to run out of time. 9. John, if you divide 9 into 60, what do you get? Six and a half. Thank you. Okay, so
6.5 minutes.
so you're done at 6. You're out of here at 6.
Okay. You let me know what that is.
Yeah,
I'm almost like, okay, what's the
I'm
math
looking.
on that?
Okay. Because we have a little more time on each end of that, so let's see that.
So, Brevity House is my business, and the mission statement is Brevity House is an intimate social gathering space offering quality teas to tea drinkers, Ventura locals, tourists, and individuals who are seeking a welcoming place to enjoy a sophisticated tea experience. Unlike other tea and coffee shops, which rely mainly on coffee sales, Brevity House will offer the most unique and quality teas, and will only sell one coffee and over 50 teas.
Okay, so that's your vision.
Yes. Oh, it's
That is not
the
your mission.
Oh, it's
Your
not.
mission will be that short.
Oh, I actually took a mission statement
Yes.
thing that showed you how to make it.
Yeah.
To do that, obviously.
That's really your vision.
Okay.
That's really because you're talking about sales, or you're talking about the community, or you're talking about, right? Your vision might be warm and cozy. All I think of is tea cozy and hot tea, or all I think of is, a soothing place to get warm, or I don't know what it is.
You mean mission statement or vision?
Mission statement.
Okay.
Super short.
Okay.
Something that you can always fulfill even if you don't have your cup of coffee,
Right.
or even if you serve iced tea, or a mission statement should be something that has a huge lifespan.
Okay.
Like what's your giving back to the world? What are you giving back to the world?
Education.
Education. You're giving money
You mean-
to.
Yeah. To growers of tea
You're educating tea growers, communities.
and their
And-
children.
and
Like
their chil-
the
right,
whole
okay.
education thing. Yeah.
Okay, so your mission statement might include, be some way to include creating community through a warm cup of tea and education. I don't know, I'm making
Right.
this up, but do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Got it.
And it might be longer than that, but basically you will always be able to achieve it. You always have a mission to make the world a better place, because you'll soothe hearts with warm tea. Notice I love tea, you guys. And,
I know you're talking my language right now.
right, and you'll build communities because people will come to the Brevi Tea location, and you'll build communities by educating growers and children and communities, and that's global. It's not, because you talked about Santa Barbara. And
Yes, I was
visitors.
just working on a local tea shop, not
Yeah,
a
but
chain.
But the company's taking care of growers, so that's an international business.
Right. I get it. Okay. Okay. So these are my sketches. I ended up going with this one here, but I liked a lot on here. So if any of you feel like as we get through this that I should have tried something else, feel free to jump in there. So these are the three that I digitized.
Can you take them down really small for us,
Mhm.
please?
That's as small as it'll go.
Yeah.
Although I did do the small thing here, so it's really small.
Oh, good, good.
I don't know if that's
Well,
a
we know what you
reasonable
like
size.
best now.
Well, the reason I chose it is I actually like this bottom one here. Can you see I'm circling? Good. Okay. But I felt like this one had more clarity. Like this could be anything. But it was my preference. So those are the three, and sorry I threw my color palette in there. I didn't realize I was jumping ahead. This is a couple ways of doing the final logo that I chose. I know that circle's a little dark now, but on my computer at home it seemed reasonable.
Right.
And big and small.
Anybody got thoughts?
Yeah, I really like that one. Oh, sorry.
Really?
Sorry.
Both of you.
Go back to this.
The blue part was.
The blue part's a flower on a teapot.
Yes, I was just decorating it for fun because I got to use color. I thought you could do all kinds of different teapots for fun.
Oh, so that's why you're enamored with it.
Yeah.
The teapot can change personality all the time.
Yes.
Okay. And Carly?
On that note, actually, I feel like instead of, you're just playing around with the colors and stuff, but
Mhm.
I feel like the letters should all stay one color. And then you could make the teapot a different color, and then that could be something that you change. Is the color.
I thought that too, but when I look at this, I kind of feel like, I don't know, something's funny about having it all one color to me. Does that bother anybody else? Does anybody
But you
else?
could change that teapot. To
Yeah,
different
the
colors
teapot.
every time. That's like, isn't that what you
Or
were saying?
vice versa,
Or vice
the-
versa, yeah.
The typeface could be
Yeah.
changed.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
With the teapot, I would be interested to see what it would be. The lid of the teapot was actually slightly smaller than the.
Oh, right.
Because right now it kind of connects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with the teapot.
What?
Rounded in.
Oh, I see.
The reason that I chose that teapot, and I'm not sure if changing that would throw this a little bit, but I didn't really like the idea of tea being feminine, which a lot of times you think of like a tea place. And so I wanted it to look a little masculine, or, as far as, but I'd be willing to try the different size of it too, just for fun to see what it looked like.
Okay. I have an idea of where you didn't have the word house, but then you kind of put windows and a door on the teapot. So it's something.
Oh, right.
That's a good idea. Anybody else? Okay, I got some thoughts. I got 1 minute. Scroll up to your many samples. Keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, many.
The
There you go.
drawings. Okay.
Okay, number 12. I like what you did with the saucer.
Me too. I like that one a lot.
Okay, so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously you didn't like it enough to do it.
Well,
but,
that was just a timing thing.
Right.
I probably could have done more.
Okay, so I really
Yeah.
like that. But if you go back to your teapot with the words house under it,
Mm-hmm.
keep going. Go to your
Big.
final stuff.
This one.
I wonder if on one part I thought, oh, maybe house might be something like that. I don't know. And then when I heard Taylor talk about, like, the edges of your lid don't bother me, but what I thought was, for humor, the lid could be tilted askew a little,
Mm-hmm.
just the lid,
Oh, yeah. I like
just for a
that.
little humor.
Especially because of the way all of the
Everything else
letters
plays.
are.
Askew and walking
Yeah.
right. And then the mouth of the spout of the teapot, right at the end, the mouth of it,
Mm-hmm.
totally is the same width as the descending R in my vision.
Oh.
So I want it to, the descending R and the angle of the teapot to kind of feed
Make a-
into it.
Right.
So it's not a big shift. It's kind of like if your teapot moved over just to here
Mm-hmm.
and they were at the same angle,
Right.
I would see it as kind of a continuum which would carry me into it,
Yeah.
and they would align more. They would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the only reason I want that to play, like, I don't care that it has points, but this is all playful, and that's playful, so that should be playful.
Right.
And then, and I wouldn't use that font at all. I think that's just not
You know
going to
what the-
disconnect to here. I don't
The
think they
reason that I was thinking that was I thought it looked a little like a flame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not make that
Yeah.
connection. And then, and simply, maybe what you do is house, maybe it's just a sans serif type, real small house here. This just is too, it's not doing it
Yeah.
for me. I don't know why. And if this is not the right size for here, maybe your teapot scales a hair. I don't know what happens.
Right.
I don't know if it needs to. I don't know. But I tweak it, those little things. Okay, that's what I consider, and all the other suggestions everybody else made, which are always great. So I would try. I think you guys are amazing at your suggestions. I think they're wonderful. So I think everybody's is worth doing. Anyway, great. Okay, ready, Taylor? Oh, Amity, go ahead. Yes, you're the next chair.
So my computer crashed. So I don't have my brief, but I just kind of quickly made some logos on Illustrator, like the ones I already made. So I don't have all of them. So I'm doing Dunkin' Donuts for mine, and so I'm doing just a basic Dunkin' Donuts one, and I'm also adding like another brand that's called Yes by Dunkin', where they like cater at weddings or events. So this is one idea for the Dunkin' main logo. I have more, but I didn't have time to redesign them. And then this is one idea for the wedding one.
Can you make that really small?
Yeah. And
If you, yeah.
smaller. That's it. I can't go.
Okay.
And
So you did all this digital since you walked in class?
yeah. Well, I made them, or so I knew what I had.
So
to
where
do,
did the
kind of.
floral thing come from?
Oh, I just picked some on the internet. They're not the same ones that I used. Like I hand drew mine and scanned them, but it's
So
similar.
this is the essence. Of
Yeah.
It.
And that is the second one. Yeah, that's all I have time
Can you
to
make
do.
that really small? That's great. So who's got thoughts?
I really like this one. I think for both this one and the previous one, I feel like you could maybe choose a script that's a little bit more legible. I can definitely read it and I know what it says, but just like make it smaller and more. Yeah. But I like both of these, like, all of the ideas actually. And how the flowers looks like perfect for the wedding.
It has a lot of character to it. It really says a lot just from the logo by itself.
I like this one. I like the it's too. I was going to maybe that maybe more of the essence of a donut because it has the shape, but perhaps like mixed in icons of like
Yeah.
Or have the
different
donut,
colors.
the donut behind the flowers?
Uh,
Instead of sprinkles, like the flowers are the sprinkles, but the donuts behind there.
Cute.
Did you do that already?
No, but because for the where is it? I can just use the donut that I made for this and just apply the flowers on top, I guess, to try it.
Right.
Yeah. I made one where it's like half of it is the flowers and half of it is this, but I didn't really like it.
Oh,
So,
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
half a wreath, half a donut shape is
Yeah.
flowers, half.
it's like just donut.
I think it's the second one. Like as it is, honestly. I wouldn't even change the colors. Make them bigger. Just so.
Yeah, those are not the ones I drew, but
Yeah, exactly.
they're really similar too.
Your essence is
Yeah.
there.
But
Yeah.
the font is difficult for me. This one I can use, but the
Mhm.
handwriting one I can't do well. I can't do that.
And Taylor, you got more.
well, I was just gonna ask, this font is this the font that you're using?
No, I just
It is. A different font. Okay. Just because
It's a similar one. I mean, the one that I use is really similar to this one, but I mean, I guess I could just try
It just looks like a little bit of an eye at the end. It's like the key.
it. Yeah. Okay.
That was
Yeah, now that you said it, I can't see it.
What's that?
So I can't unsee that.
Yeah, you can. Now you can't unsee it. Right. Now it's a Dunkin'. Exactly. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard on the radio that they are rebranding to just Dunkin'. Is that why you choose to do this?
Yeah.
Are you just gonna compare what you did to what they end up with?
I don't know, because first one of the color palettes I designed, I realized it was just really similar to what they already have. So I kind of changed it, but I guess it would be fun to see like how
They rebrand.
I mean, they just like took the donut off and they kept the same font. So
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
They already said what looks
Yeah.
like and everything.
yeah. It's just the same logo but without the donut. Same font, same colors,
They should.
everything.
Anybody else? Okay, so I got thoughts. You go back to your cup.
Oh, the reason why there's a cup is because they're the #1 seller for iced coffee.
Oh, I bet. No, I think this is super clever, personally. I think it's great. And is that going to be the Dunkin' logo for Dunkin'?
Yeah, I have other ones than this one.
Okay.
It wasn't my favorite at first, but I think I like the fact that I added the cup because I mean their name is Dunkin' Donuts, but they also #1 seller of iced
Well,
coffee.
it's everything to me. It's hot coffee.
Mhm.
It's cold coffee. And Starbucks puts those dome things.
Yeah,
on
that's
their
how I
things.
started doing
Right.
that.
And then it's a straw. So then it's everything to me. And then it says Dunkin', and I see you dunking the donut in the drink, and so I'm like deep into dunking. And then I look at the type that's all uppercase, and so that leads me down to your last one, and scroll down to the last one. And then when you pulled up the last one, my expression was like bows, like, oh. I was happy. I smiled because to me it's your name, you know. Oh yes as in marriage. Oh yes. I mean that's what I totally caught. And then I liked the O for the donut. What bothers me is by Dunkin', I want the word Dunkin' to be like the logo Dunkin'.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This doesn't fit to me, and where it sits doesn't work. And yes, I know it's not your script, but I want it to have. I want the proportions tighter, and I want things tweaked in it. But this, it's like, and the donut itself ties me to the Dunkin' logo, and then if you take the Dunkin' typeface and you put it here, I think you nailed it. To be honest. So, anybody else got any other thoughts? Okay. Oh, John has thoughts. John.
I have a brother-in-law who actually works at Dunkin' Corporate. He told me that they are trying to reorient themselves toward like a bistro image.
Oh, really?
They serve sandwiches, and they're trying to get away from the
Donut.
heaviness of the donut.
They just advertised last night, brand new croissant, egg,
Oh,
bacon sandwiches. And they were really up close on it. And it's really gross. And then they back up. I don't think it's very good at.
Yeah.
That's the new.
That's the
new.
That's the.
It's not like I wanted to run out and get it right then and there.
No.
At whatever time it was last
Well,
night. But
they still kept the really round font, so it still reminds me of tennis. Yeah. So,
By the way, I like this niche.
You don't want to make the mistake of the new Coke. With their logo.
yeah.
There you go. Okay, beautiful. So, think that you did. Have something.
We like the people with nothing because we don't have the time.
Okay, so if you click on, yeah,
Is it
just
this
that,
one?
yeah.
Yeah.
There you
So this is my design work. This is not my logo. My company is called Nerdling, which from the name language, it's a online and mostly focused on the app language learning service for specifically the 5 Nordic languages. And the mission is to make learning a language less of a daunting process and more something that's approachable. And yeah, I don't have my exact mission statement memorized. Yeah, along those lines.
And I remember that your mission statement is more like a vision statement.
Yeah.
Because it's very
Well, you said it was very
sales pitchy.
marketing. Yeah.
It's very sales pitchy. And you need to, the same conversation we had with Katie is the same one you need to think for yourself.
So yeah, these are mine. Just I wanted to, do the Nordic aspect, Scandinavian style,
cold weather, lots of trees and stuff like that. And I also wanted to do, the communication aspect, as well as I liked the idea. That's why I have a boat and the house and the hot air balloon and stuff, of some type of like welcoming or supportive system or something. Hot air balloon lifts you up, balloon takes you places, and a home is cozy. So I liked that idea. I did all of mine into digital, just because I think better in digital anyways. So, yeah. And I didn't do a top 3, unfortunately, but I liked some of them. The second one I liked, but I thought it was too similar to something like, I don't know, YouTube or even LinkedIn or something, so I didn't want to do something like that. And I really liked the hot air balloon as well as the boat, and I guess I like the flag.
I like the flag.
Yeah.
It's very.
But I didn't really like the flag text bubble one.
Yeah. It just represents it well.
Yeah. So those were kind of my top ones. But since I'm doing kind of something that's focused on an app, I wanted to have an icon, like a solid icon, just because I feel like, as well as something that kind of tells a story, because my idea for the company would be to have, levels of learning, and maybe the hot air balloon takes you up, and I kind of thought of that when I drew that out. And so I ended up kind of choosing this one as my final decision.
So what countries are you including?
Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, and what was the last one? Sweden.
Can you Google right now, please, new page, Scandinavian flags?
Oh, I know them all very well. They're in my last one. I made all of them. Scandinavian flags. They're all the same, except they have, well, they're not all the same. I shouldn't say that. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm not doing the Faroe Islands or there's a few, but these are the core.
Okay. So I wanted everybody to see Scandinavian flag color palettes.
Yeah. And just how the countries represent themselves as well. I didn't really want to do red. I didn't feel like that. Because I wanted to also do a calm feeling. I didn't want it to be very bright. Because I don't know, for me, sometimes red isn't as approachable. Yeah. So I skipped the red part. I definitely wanted blue. I did play with yellow. I didn't end up going with it. I liked the idea of having green because it reminded me of nature. And those countries are just covered in trees. I spent 3 months in Finland. I just got back in August. So it's very blue, very green, very, beautiful. And then I actually made a secondary logo as well because I like the idea of having a longer logo as well as the more vertical one. And then in addition to this, it would be the icon would be for like the app. Like, I think it's called the icon.
You kind of did the colors in your blue.
Yeah.
Because there's two different things, like a dark blue and a little bit of
Yeah. I definitely wasn't focusing too much on the flags themselves as much as the feeling of the countries and stuff like that.
So who's got that? That's awesome.
It's a great idea. Is there such a thing, or did you just think of this?
Such a thing as
Is this? I mean,
Nordlight.
yeah.
the closest thing I can think of would be I've used a lot of language stuff because I'm trying to learn Finnish because my husband, which is really hard, and there are no resources, which is kind of when I thought of this, but the closest one would be maybe Word Dive, I think, which is really small and it's not very good. So, I'd say Duolingo is my favorite, but they don't have Finnish. So.
Really?
No, they have random language like Klingon and stuff, but they don't have Finnish. I know.
Klingon. It's funny. Okay, if we scroll up again, please.
Yeah. And I can go back to the main thing too. I know I didn't.
Anybody else got any thoughts? Yeah, but
The blue and the yellow. Very Sweden. Yeah, I did try the yellow here. The reason I didn't do it was just because in some ways I felt like it drew the eye too much. I do feel like the green draws the eye a little much still. That would be a critique of myself for sure. But
I felt that the yellow even drew it more because it was so much of a contrast to the blue.
Jordan? I mean, not Jordan. Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah. I like how simple and clean it is.
That's what I'm Yeah, I've seen a lot of, Scandinavian art. As a whole country, I feel like their graphic design style is very similar. It's really interesting if you look at Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian graphic designers. They all have very similar. Yes. The whole country, all the countries are so modern. Everything is so modern.
Anybody else? Okay, well, so I just want to go back. Yeah. I was taken by your mountains where it looks like an N and it echoes for me.
Which the lower
bottom,
one?
Yeah. And then I thought, you could follow the line one more diagonal up, and you've got your L, and you're good. You know what I mean? But that's okay. I want to work with the one you like, so let's go down further because it's clean and it works. I'm bothered by your color palette. I've never been to Scandinavia. I've got pictures in my mind of it and all your descriptions. I agree. But what I'd really love for you to do is really try a whole variety of different colors.
Any suggestions?
Well, I start with your flags.
Okay.
I like the blue and yellow. I think that's what both said. I like the blues and the yellows. I would put the red in there. To me, it's I associate those four. You've got four colors here, but
I mean the standard hot air balloons have like red, blue, and yellow, don't they? I think that's so common.
I would just play with them only because then you'd put me in a geographic location.
Okay.
Where the colors here don't put me in a geographic location.
Okay.
And that's the thing I'm hung up on.
Okay.
And see what you think. And I might also consider if you would break up Nordlang with two different colors.
Oh, I
Blue
have
and
done
blue.
that so many
And
times.
you don't like it?
No. I actually did like it. My husband actually said that he thought that it was a little much. And in some ways I agree. I also tried it where I stacked the two words.
Well, the other part to that is, glad you said that.
I thought it was too vertical.
Yes, I see it. Well, and because you have so much color in your hot air balloon, you want that word to be weightier than the balloon itself.
Yeah.
And then when you go to your stacked one, I'm sorry, not your stacked one, your wide one,
Mhm.
I like the balloon because it looks like an exclamation point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought of too. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you saw that.
And
That's great.
and that's actually what made me like your logo. That version, because you had so many strong logos to look at that when I saw it like that, I was like, what a punctuation. I'd probably rather see it wide than tall because, I don't know, it just feels remarkable.
I like
to use
having the option. I was kind of inspired by the
Heart,
radio.
that heart
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Both
that was
versions.
so smart the way that they
Yeah,
did it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I like that as a punctuation mark to me.
I actually wanted to ask you one thing. The negative thing, is
Yeah.
that an acceptable way to do a negative and black and white logo?
Well, if that's you're designing it that way, then yes, it is.
Okay. I didn't know for sure.
But the other part is you could get rid of the lines and all the
Yeah.
lines that are white. You reverse it, so basically you take your white version of your logo, the one to the left of the box.
Mhm.
That one.
Yeah.
And just slide your white logo into it, where it's white, so it's reversed. So the white one remains white on the background.
Oh, okay.
And so now now the lines aren't lines, now the lines are negative space.
Oh, that's interesting.
I
Yeah,
would try- I would try
I
that.
haven't tried that.
Yeah,
so.
try that. It might be pretty. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.